Hello everyone, this is Dr. S. Lakshmi, Associate Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. In this video, let me talk about the course Special Electrical Machines. The course code is U18PEEE14. So first let us discuss about the introduction of a synchronous reluctance motor. So it is one of the important type of special electrical machine that works based upon the principle of minimum reluctance position and comes under the group of special electrical machines. So synchronous reluctance motor is an AC motor that is developed to provide a efficient constant speed. So this synchronous reluctance motor has no brushes, no slip rings, nothing. So it is completely free of magnets. The structure and the principle of reluctance motor is similar to that of a salient pole synchronous machine. So we all know the working of a salient pole synchronous machine. So this synchronous reluctance motor, the construction, the working principle is almost similar to that of a salient pole synchronous machine. So as in the other type of machines, this synchronous reluctance motor also has two main parts. One is the stator, other one is the rotor. Stator is the stationary part and the rotor is the rotating part. And now coming to the stator side, it has three-phase symmetrical winding which creates a rotating magnetic field in the air gap. So because of this, there is a reluctance torque developed because of this induced magnetic field in the rotor, which has a tendency to cause the rotor to align with the stator field where you have the minimum reluctance position. So this is how it works. This is the principle of operation of a synchronous reluctance motor. And I already told you that this rotor does not have any field winding. It is completely free of magnets also. And coming to the construction of a synchronous reluctance motor, it is almost similar to that of a induction motor. It has a stator and the rotor as the case of an induction motor. And it also has an outermost frame that covers the entire machine, and beneath the outermost frame we have the laminated sheets which is made up of silicon steel. These are all to reduce the hysteresis and eddy current losses. And coming to the stator side, it has a stator core in which stator slots are provided for housing the stator winding, and most usually you use a three-phase winding in the stator. And for the rotor, you don't have any magnets or field winding or for excitation. So this rotor has a very simple construction such that the salient pole rotor, which are also laminated, and it is also made up of silicon solid steel material. And the entire machine is can be constructed with low cost. It has a drug structure and it has a very high efficiency, and it is capable of operating at very high speeds also. So as the name indicates, it works on the principle of minimum reluctance position, and it is a constant speed machine that works only at synchronous speed. You can see that LDM is not equal to LQM. LDM is nothing but direct axis magnetic axis inductance, and LQM is quadrature inductance. And psi f is equal to 0 as there is no field winding or for excitation on the rotor side. That's why psi f is equal to 0. So we can see the construction of a synchronous reluctance motor here. So the outermost frame, we call it as a stator frame, and next to it you have the stator core, and you have the slots for housing the stator winding, and the inner part is the rotor, and you can see that we have four poles here, and the innermost part, the projected part is called as a salient pole type, and the innermost part is the rotor shaft. And these are all the rotor stator slots. The outer part is the stator slots, and we have the three-phase stator winding on the stator hook. This traditional synchronous reluctance motor has a low saliency ratio. So because of this low saliency ratio, the torque density is comparatively poor. and it also has a low power factor and a low efficiency. So this synchronous reluctance motor is similar to that of a sinusoidal permanent magnet machine except the field flux. So in a sinusoidal permanent magnet machine, you will have a field flux because of the presence of the permanent magnet. Whereas in case of a synchronous reluctance motor, we don't have any magnets here. So only that is the difference between the synchronous reluctance motor and a sinusoidal permanent magnet machine. So coming to the principle of operation, so now let us see how a synchronous reluctance machine operates. So I already said that this synchronous reluctance motor works on the principle of minimum reluctance position. So let us see how it works. When the stator winding is excited by a AC supply, what will happen when externally when I am going to give a three-phase AC supply to the stator winding, a rotating magnetic field will be produced in the air gap that cuts the rotor and induces a magnetic field in the rotor. Now this rotor tries to align itself with minimum reluctance position by developing a reluctance torque between the stator and the rotor. So initially, in ideal condition, you can assume that there is no core loss or copper loss in the rotor, but the inverter fed harmonics will cause some copper loss in the damper winding if it is present. So this is how it works. So we give a three-phase alternating supply to the stator winding. Then what will happen? A rotating magnetic field will be produced, and by the principle of mutual induction, the rotor also carries a magnetic field, and there will be an interaction between this, and the rotor tries to rotate. So it will just try to align itself with the stator, choosing the minimum reluctance position, and thereby your machine works. So the simplest operation of the synchronous reluctance motor is a line start motor, where the machine starts like an induction motor with the help of a cage winding, and then it pulls into synchronism at synchronous speed. So at start, your synchronous reluctance motor is similar to that of an induction motor, and then once it picks up the speed of a synchronous, it reaches a synchronous speed, and then it continues to work with as a synchronous reluctance machine. So this is how it works. So let us now see some of the useful properties of a synchronous reluctance motor. So first one is combined reluctance and magnet alignment torque, field weakening capability. It has a high inductance, high speed capability, high temperature withstanding capability, and it is mostly having under excited operation for most of the load condition. So these are some of the unique characteristics of a synchronous reluctance motor. Application, so where we are using the synchronous reluctance motor. So it is mostly can be used in pumps, conveyors, spinning mills, folding machines, pumps, etc. So now let us discuss the types of a synchronous reluctance motor. So the basic one is the line start synchronous reluctance motor. It is also called as cage type. The other one is cageless permanent magnet or synchronous reluctance hybrid motor. And the third category is brushless synchronous reluctance motor. So depending upon the construction of the rotor, the synchronous reluctance motor is again classified into two different types. One is radial air gap motor and the other one is axial air gap motor. So we are going to discuss about this radial air gap motor and axial air gap motor now. So let us see what is a radial air gap motor. So in this type of motor, the construction of the stator remains the same, but the rotor has projecting pole laminations of steel core. So in a usual case, you don't have the projecting pole laminations of steel core in the rotor side. So only in this type of radial air gap motor, you have such a construction. So the length of the magnetic core in the radial motor is actually less than the total active magnetic length. Why? Because of the presence of end turns. Because of the presence of end turns at each end of the motor. And it is also seen that the magnetic working radius set for the motor is directly related to the torque production of the motor. The larger the radius, more the torque, isn't it? So if the radius is more torque is produced. If the radius is less, the torque will be reduced. So here, the working radius of the magnet in case of a radial air gap motor is usually considered the outside dimensions of the magnet. So that's why the working radius is less than the axial motor. So in this type of machine, the torque production is less compared to that of an axial type of machine. So we can see the cross-sectional view of this radial air gap motor. So you can see the radial air gap motor. You can see the outermost part is the stator outer frame, the stator core, the slots, the stator winding, and the inner part is the rotor. It has the rotor core, the innermost part of the shaft, and the projected poles are called as the rotor poles. So you can see that the flux is produced radially along the sideways of the machine. So you can see the another picture here. You can see that the flux lines are traveling along the sideways of the rotor. Whereas if you see this, the other type, you can see that it is along the axis of the rotor. So it is in this way. It is in the outside way, either in the sideways. So this is how it works. This is the difference between the radial air gap motor and the axial air gap type of motor. So now let us see the other type also. So we have more discussions on this radial air gap motor. So in a radial air gap motor, the effective air gap area is less than the maximum air gap area, as there are gaps between the field poles to reduce the flux leakage and to allow for insertion of the windings. So that is an important part here. And the core area of the radial motor. So if you see the radial air gap motor, the core area is actually reduced because of the less radius of the core, the winding thickness and the gap necessary to allow for the winding the motor windings. And the most important advantage of this radial air gap motor design is that more core area can be incorporated into the machine. So now coming to axial air gap motor. So in this type of machine, the length of the laminated core of the rotor is less, which is essentially the same as that of the length of winding. So it is usually mentioned as LC, which is essentially the same as that the length of the winding. For axial type of machine, the magnet working radius is harder to define since the radius varies over the area of the air gap. Typically, the magnet working radius can be larger since the magnet outside diameter is limited only by the motor shell thickness and a clearance gap for rotation. So that is the important thing. And you can see that in an axial air gap motor, the axial motor has 1.4 times a better torque compared to that of a radial motor. So that is best advantage or the best feature of this axial air gap motor. So here in this type of machine, the effective air gap is less than the maximum area, since some areas are left between the field poles to reduce the flux leakage between the field poles and some area to the windings. The core area of the traditional axial motor is just the area perpendicular slice of the field poles. And this axial motor also has a constant core area, and it has a maximum torque for a given diameter. So it is completely independent of the length of the machine. So that is different. The increase in length of an axial motor changes the power dissipation of the motor but does not change the maximum torque. So that is very important. So the length, if there is a change in length, uh, there may be changes with the power dissipation, but not the torque. So that is the difference. And it also has a high copper fill ratio because of a simple coil design. And if this length is not constrained, the axial motor could be lengthened so that additional copper can be added. So that is one more point under this axial air gap motor. And the axial air gap motors do not increase torque by extending the motor length. Extending the motor length in an axial motor increases the length of the winding, but it does not change the torque value produced. The same thing what we have already seen. So we can see the axial air gap type of motor. You can see the flux lines will be towards, in the axial way. It will be traveling in the axial way. Whereas in the radial way, the flux lines will be traveling in the sideways, not inside. So the other things are all same. The presence of stator and the rotor all are same, but you can see there is a change in the rotor. You can see in a radial type of machine, you will have the projected type of rotor. Here it is not a projected type; it is non-salient. So synchronous reluctance. So in this type of machine, the magnets are absent. So we discussed all these things earlier. Usually the case is that which is opposite to that of an ordinary synchronous machine. In many respects, synchronous reluctance motor is similar to that of a sinusoidal permanent magnet machines except the field flux. So let us see the equivalent circuit of salient pole synchronous machine. So all this while we were discussing about synchronous reluctance motor. So now we will see what is a synchronous machine and a salient pole synchronous machine. So salient pole synchronous machine, it is also same that the magnets are removed. There is no magnets under no load condition or it is open circuit conditions. And you have the flux along flux, all the flux is the Q axis flux and there is no D axis flux. So now let us see the torque equation of a salient pole synchronous machine. So for developing the torque equation, we have to draw the equivalent circuit of the salient pole synchronous machine. So the dynamic machine model in which the stationary reference frame of the synchronous machine is being done is having three variables. Let us consider those three stationary reference frame variables as AS, DS and CS, which is transformed into two-phase stationary reference frame, that is DS and QS. DS is direct axis and QS is quadrature axis. And then we will be transforming this stationary reference frame variables to a synchronously rotating reference frame. So let us name that as DEQE. So I will be showing the figure for idealized three-phase two-pole wound field synchronous machine shortly. The DC field current is applied to the rotor from the rectifier. So we are going to design a rectifier for supplying a DC field current to the rotor of the salient pole synchronous machine through slip rings and brushes. So this is only for a salient pole synchronous machine and not for a synchronous reluctance motor. For a synchronous reluctance motor, we don't have any excitation, we don't have any magnet, nothing is there. Now we are talking about a salient pole synchronous machines. Here in a salient pole synchronous machine, we do have a excitation given to the rotor, and this excitation is a DC supply. So which we will be feeding from a static rectifier through slip rings and brushes. So for that, first let us develop the torque equation of the salient pole synchronous machine. So let us modify the same for synchronous reluctance machine later. So first we will do it for salient pole synchronous machine and then later we will be modifying it for a synchronous reluctance machine. And here we have to remember that the rotor of the synchronous reluctance motor has salient pole. So we have to consider only the development of torque equation of salient pole synchronous machine and not for a non-salient pole machine. So we are going to consider only a salient pole synchronous machine. And here, since the rotor always moves at synchronous speed, what is the meaning? It is going to operate at synchronous speed when there is no slip speed. So of course the slip is zero. The synchronous rotating axes are fixed with the rotor where the DE axis corresponds to the north pole. And this difference in the characteristics of the salient pole machine from those of a normal salient pole machine is due to the non-uniform air gap reluctance in the DE and QE axis. That is why the difference is there, and the resulting asymmetry in the direct and quadrature axis magnetic reactances causes the corresponding synchronous reactance to be unsymmetrical. So these are all the information we are gathering before arriving to the torque equation of a salient pole synchronous machine. Once we derive the torque equation for salient pole synchronous machine, from that what we will do is we will move on to the derivation of a torque equation of a synchronous reluctance machine. So that is quite simpler for working. So we can see this is the it's a diagram of a salient pole synchronous machine. We have only two poles on the rotor. So only two poles. For simple understanding, we have used only two poles. One is the north pole, another one is the south pole. And we have the outer part called the stator. And we have three symmetrical windings, AS, DS, and CS. The other side we may name it as A bar S, B bar S, and C bar S, and the axis. So this is the stator axis and this is the rotor axis. And we name this rotor axis as a DE axis, and this is the QE axis of the rotor. Just 90-degree phase difference. So this is a phasor diagram of a salient pole synchronous machine with the Q as reference. With Q as reference, so first what we will do is we will draw the VF line. So this VF line is taken as a reference, and let us draw VS leading this VF by an angle of del. Okay, and this IS, the current lags this VS by an angle of phi. This VS is transformed into two segments. One is VDS, another one is VQS with 90-degree phase difference. So let us draw VDS first, and then from where it stops, we will draw the VQS. And along this line, along this VF line, we have the IDS, XDS axis. Okay, and this is the Q axis actually. And the 90-degree apart, you have the IQS, XQS line. And this one is the D axis, where you have the IDS line, where you have the field flux, psi F, and this is psi S. So this is a phasor diagram of a salient pole synchronous machine with Q as the reference. You can also draw with D as a reference line. So here we have just taken Q line as the reference line. So the phasor diagram. So let us see the explanation of it. Whatever I have explained, the same thing is mentioned here. The excitation of the speed EMF VF is shown aligned with the QE axis, where psi F is the flux linkage induced by the field current IF, and it is aligned with the DE axis. This phase voltage Vs and this phase current Is are resolved into two corresponding DE and QE components, and the voltage phasor diagram is drawn with the corresponding reactive drops. This is what it is. These are the drops. IDS, XDS and IQS, XQS are the drops along the Q axis and the D axis. And the voltage phasor diagram with the corresponding reactive drops. In the phasor diagram, the armature reaction flux psi A aids the field flux to result in the stator flux. So what is the meaning? This armature flux is helping the field flux That results in the stator flux psi s. And in the motoring mode, which is drawn or for lagging power factor, psi s is greater than psi r. In case of a generating mode, it is just the opposite. So in case of a generating mode, it is leading power factor, and if it is in the motoring mode, it is with the lagging power factor. So now let us see how to develop the torque equation of a salient pole synchronous machine with Q as a reference. So we are going to proceed with Q as a reference line. The power input to the machine is given by Pi. This we know this. This is the general equation. So it is supplied with a three-phase symmetrical winding. So your power input to the machine is given by 3 into Vs Is cos phi. And from the phasor diagram, you can write Is cos phi as Iqs cos del minus Ids sin del. So just substitute this expression in the power expression. You get Pi is equal to 3 into Vs Iqs cos del minus Ids sin del. So let us mark this equation as number 1 or 1.3, whatever. Now, from the phasor diagram, IDS can be written as Vs cos del minus Vf by x ds, and IQS can be written as Vs sin del by xqs. Now, what we do is we are going to just substitute these expressions in the power expression. So you will get Pi is equal to 3Vs Vs sin del by xqs into cos del minus Vs cos del minus Vf by xds into sin del. So this is what we have got. Next, what we are going to do is just multiplying this expression inside it. So if you multiply, you will get 3Vs into Vs sin del cos del by xqs minus Vs sin del cos del minus Vf sin del by xds. Now take the LCM for it. So this sin A cos B is nothing but you can write it as sin 2A by 2. Sin A cos B can be written as sin A cos A can be written as sin 2A by 2. So just substituting that, you can write it as 3Vs into Vs sin 2 del by 2 xqs minus Vs sin 2 del by 2 into xds plus Vf sin del by xds. Just multiply this whole expression by this 3Vs, we get 3V square S sin 2 del by 2 xqs minus 3V square S sin 2 del by 2 xds plus 3Vs Vf sin del by xds. So after this expression, just simplifying the expression, you get 3V square S into xds minus xqs sin 2 del by 2 xds xqs plus 3Vs Vf sin del by xds. So now we can relate the power delivered to the shaft with the torque developed in the machine. So we can write this Ps as 2 by P into omega E into dE. So let us assume that there are no losses. It is directly delivered to the shaft. So we can write Pi is as 2 by P into omega E into dE. So we can just write this expression. Pi is equal to 2 by P into omega E dE. Assuming no losses, so just Te is equal to P by 2 into Pi by omega E. So instead of this Pi, we have already derived this expression. Just substitute the whatever we have derived here. So after simplification, we get Te is equal to 3 into P by 2 into 1 by omega E Vs Vf sin del by xds plus V square S into xds minus xqs divided by 2 xds xqs into sin 2 del. So this is the expression for torque of a salient pole synchronous machine with Q as the reference. And if the supply voltage to the frequency ratio is constant, then this flux linkage also should be constant, so the torque remains unchanged. The resistance drop is small and so it can be neglected. So you can write this IS as Vs by omega E angle minus pi by 2. So considering only the magnitude part, you can write Vs as Is into omega E and Vf as sin f into omega E. So we'll just assume the magnitude part alone. Let us just neglect the angle. So from the basics, these three expressions or from the basics, we know that x is equal to 2 by fl. 2 by f is the test for the angular value. So the same expression x is equal to omega e into ls, x ds is equal to omega e into lds, and xqs is equal to omega e into LQS. So substituting these three expressions in the torque equation, we get 3 into P by 2 into 1 by omega E psi S omega E psi F omega E by omega E LDS sin del plus psi square S omega square E into omega E LDS minus omega E LQS by 2 omega square LDS LQS into sine 2 del. So we will just simplify this expression and we will get the final expression for torque. So this is the torque equation. It is given by 3 into P by 2 psi S psi F sine del by LDS plus psi square LDS minus LQS divided by 2 into LDS LQS into sine 2 del. So this is the torque equation of a salient pole synchronous machine with Q as the reference. So the inference from the torque equation of a synchronous machine. So the permanent magnet synchronous motor operates as a synchronous reluctance motor if the magnets are completely absent or it is demagnetized. The developed torque equation of the salient pole synchronous machine is given by the expression. The equation consists of two components. The first component is due to the field. So this component should be left out for obtaining the torque equation of the synchronous reluctance motor. And the second component is the reluctance torque. And so the developed torque can be expressed as 3 into P by 2 into psi square S LDS minus LQS sine del by LDS plus psi square LDS minus LQS by 2 LDS LQS into sine 2 del. So this is the torque equation of a synchronous reluctance motor where Te is the developed torque of the synchronous reluctance motor, P is the number of poles, psi is the flux linkage by the field current, LDS is the direct axis inductance with respect to synchronously rotating reference frame, and LQS is the quadrature axis inductance with respect to synchronously rotating reference frame, and del is the torque angle. So this is about the torque equation of a synchronous reluctance motor.